Good morning. Hope everything's okay with you. This is Tim Wilmot speaking. I'm joined by my colleague Peter Johnson, and welcome to our Workbooks 101 sessions. In fact, during this period, we're doing 2 free little mini training sessions every Thursday. So this one is the basics session. We pick on a topic every week that is a topic that should be of a wide appeal to the Workbooks CRM community. And then in the afternoon, we do our Tech Express session, as we call it, where we tackle a more advanced topic. So this morning, we're going to cover emailing and email templates from Workbooks, a great way of saving time. In fact, at the end, I'll do a little summary of the key reasons why you would use email templates within a CRM system, just as a little wrap up. So the format is that I'm going to hand over shortly to my colleague Peter Johnson, and Peter will take us through emailing with a demo workbook system, show you all the ins and outs of that. And then towards the end, we'll have a little Q&A. If you've got any questions on this feature, or indeed any other burning workbooks questions, please type those into the question section on your meeting control panel as you those listening live, as you logged into the session. You'd have been told your microphone is on mute, so don't worry about any background noises. Just type those questions in there, and we'll do our best to answer those at the end. Also, this session is being recorded. After the call, you will get a link. You will be sent an email from our system with a link to the recording, and we'll pop it up on our YouTube channel as well. So I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Peter, that will take us through emails and email templates from Workbooks, and then I'll rejoin you towards the end with our Q&A. Thank you. Peter.
Hi, Tim. Good. So I'm just going to share my screen. Just let me know if you can see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hear me okay?
Looking good, Peter. Good. We have to do that.
Okay.
We're all working from home at the moment, so we're not in the same sort of office. I could shout across at Peter before, but I'm all working from my home location. So yeah, off you go, Pete.
Great. Thank you, Tim. So yes, this morning I'm just going to cover in brief, but show you around really sending of emails using Workbooks. Also using and creating email templates, which are very useful to quickly send, commonly sent emails, where you've got a standard bit of text that you could customize before you send. But I'm going to show you how to set up and create those and use them. And also have a look at the Dropbox facility, which is a very useful way of getting emails into Workbooks from somewhere else, such as Outlook, Google Mail, whatever mailing tool you use. There are some add-ins for Outlook, Microsoft Exchange, the Workbooks Exchange Synchronization Service, WES for short, and also the Workbooks Outlook connector add-on for that. We're not going to show those two today. I'm going to just stick to the non-Microsoft option, which is the email Dropbox, which is built into your account and comes free of charge with your account in Workbooks. So let me just get started. Very simply, sending an email via and using Workbooks is really simple to do. Generally, I imagine that you're going to send to a person. So if I go to a record here in Workbooks, I've got this contact here, Alan Whitehead, and I'm going to send him an email. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. This is after you've set up Workbooks to be able to send, and I'll show you that in one moment. So we've got the button at the top of the contact record here, send email, and I've already prepared some templates in here, or we can send a blank email. I'll show you this one actually, sales follow-up. We're going to show you how to do this. So you can see it's pre-filled the email, but I can of course, let me just stretch that out a little bit, send and add text to this email prior to sending it, and then just hit the send. One of the options that's really useful here is this little tick box here, copy me. So Bear in mind that I'm sending this from Workbooks, not my email clients. It obviously goes through the same route, but this may not show up in your email account, sent folder, and so on. So it might be a good idea to send yourself a copy so that you've got a copy in that particular service that you're using as well. And this will send automatically to the email address that you log into Workbooks with. So quite a useful option. And then you just hit send. So it will create and send this email out. So nice and simple. So in terms of being able to send from Workbooks, you do have to set up the account as you would with any other application. You may need some help from your IT or whoever looks after your email server, but it's very simple. You add the information as an account to your preferences. So from the start button, if I go down to preferences at the bottom here, and then move up to where it says email accounts here on the left, and here we add your email account. So really easy. If you haven't already done this, just choose new email account, and then when you get it, you fill it in with the necessary details. As I say, you might need some assistance to know what these credentials are in terms of the server name and ports and so on from whoever looks after your email server and your internal IT. Excuse me. So if you do need some assistance, get some assistance from those people. But once this is done, you're ready to send in exactly the same way as I've just shown you. There is another method of sending, and that's to use the area where you've got the email address populated. There's a little drop-down list or option at the side here, send using Workbooks, which brings up exactly the same information if you would like. And also you'll see in here a little option that can be quite useful, send with your email client, which will actually just open up whatever email client that you're using, in this example Outlook, and populate it with the address that you'd need to send to. So then of course it's logged in the sent items of your email client software. Okay, so really easy to send using Workbooks. Just set up that account and choose the send option. But what is quite useful is the ability to create these templates, which can be really useful to send or create really quickly commonly sent emails. You know, perhaps you're sending out a thanks for your inquiry email on a regular basis, or some info about the organization you work for. Really easy to set up. And where you set that up is in the Start menu, and we go down to the marketing option here and choose templates. So even though there are marketing templates in here, this is how you set up your templates, email templates, to send on a normal basis. Now, when you send an email template, you want to, or create an email template, I should say, you want to make sure that you use the type of record that you're going to send it from. So in this example, I'm going to add a new template that I can send when I'm sending emails from a people record. So I'm going to choose new template here. I've got a few different options in here. You may be familiar with some of these, but I'm going to create a template for a specific record type. And as I just mentioned, I'm going to send or create it for using at the person level or people records. So I'm going to select people from this list, and I'm going to start with a new blank template. So info about wizard. So I give this template a name. That's so I can choose it from the list. That may even match the subject line. So down here you can see I'm creating now an email which will be used within the person record when we select it. Now I've already prepared some text in good old demonstration style somewhere here. So you can see here I've got some text I've pre-built, save me typing it. So I'm going to go back here and populate the template area here, and you can see I've prepared the template ready to send. Probably if I maximize this, you'll be able to see this a little better, and you can see here I'm ready to populate. Now, what is really useful here is the ability to populate fields automatically. So in this example, I'd like it to say dear and then the first name of the person that I'm going to send it to. So you can get to all of the fields down in the left here. There's a pick list, so I can go and select an automated value to put at that point in the email template. And in this example, I'm going to select to populate it with the first name. And you can see in here now in the email template, it's put a little merge field in ready to populate that information in the email. And next thing I'm going to select is to allow to add my signature at the bottom of here. This will allow anybody using this template, it will put their signature at the bottom, which is great. And then I'm going to make sure in this occasion I'm going to activate this. I often forget this. I just save and close and I can't, oh, it's not there. And I need to go back and make sure I activate it. So the first time that you create this, you must make sure that you activate it. I think the idea of this is so that you can switch templates on and off as they're needed. For example, you might have some very seasonal ones and you don't want to recreate them every year, so you just go and deactivate them until late October, early December, November time. So you can activate them back again. So I'm going to choose activate, and I've created now my template ready to use. So I'm just going to save Alan Whitehead's record just so you can see. It just refreshes that menu list. And now in here, you can see I should have info about Wizard. And you can see here, if I select it, Dear Alan, and then the information that I need in that example. Okay, so nice, quick and simple to be able to create an email template to be used via the sending from Workbooks. Again, really simple, I think. So the next little topic that is quite useful to understand is the Workbooks email Dropbox facility. This will allow you to have emails appear in Workbooks from a different source. So what I'm on about here is if you regularly use maybe Outlook or some other method to send and collect your emails, obviously collecting emails, you're going to collect them in some email software, and you want that email to show within Workbooks. So there's a facility for you to send it to a special address. If you get an email, you can forward it to this special address, which is your Workbooks email Dropbox address, and then that email will not only show in the email client that you've collected it with, it will also show in Workbooks against the contact that has that email address. And also, if you're sending an email from some other source, you can BCC, so blind copy, so the recipient doesn't see the address, but you can blind copy your Workbooks account using your Dropbox email, and it then shows in Workbooks also. But you have to set this up if you haven't already. As I mentioned at the start, this is a free bit of service within Workbooks. So all you need to do as a user, and this is user defined because the email address that you get is very unique to you. So if I go to preferences, and here we've got an option to set up or see my email Dropbox details. So if you haven't done this already, you can see here you get this Dropbox option, create Dropbox, and there it is. And this detail, this is the it's got a long email address, so you might want to copy and paste that into your phone contacts or whatever you'd like, just to create a contact, so you haven't got to try and remember this email address. Or of course you could just download a vCard. So if I download a vCard here, you can see it's created a vCard, and if I click that, it should create a record in my Outlook software with that big long address in, called Workbooks Dropbox. So that's a nice quick way of getting that contact record into Outlook. So let me show you how this works. So now I've created it all. Just incidentally, if you're sending emails, excuse me, if you're sending emails from an email address that you don't log into Workbooks with, you need to add this email address to the authorized senders. Now this demo account, I actually log in as somebody else called Tony Khan, but if I choose this authorized senders, I've already put my details in here. So what that means is that I can send it, Workbooks will see who it's from and go, oh, that's okay, I'm going to take that email into Workbooks. So don't forget to set up authorized senders if you're sending from a different address. But let me show you how this works. So to show you this, I'm going to go off to my Outlook. I'm going to pick on an email. This one here is from somebody called Sharon Spur. Now I know I've got Sharon as a record in my Workbooks account. So in here, what I'm going to do is going, I need this email within Workbooks. And so if I choose to forward as an attachment, make sure you do forward it as attachment by default in Outlook. And do I want all the images? There's a lesson for everybody sending out marketing emails. Too many pictures, they don't tend to show in Outlook when people receive them. But if I choose no, I'm not going to include the pictures. So in here, I'm going to forward this to my Dropbox email address. In fact, if I click on here and type Workbooks, because I've got that contact with that email address in it, I can make sure that's in the to address, and you can see here that I've got it ready to send and send. So what that's done is it's taken a copy of this email and forwarded it to my Workbooks account. So let's go and have a look. It shouldn't take long to get there. It might take a minute or so, but let's see if it is there and available. So if I go to my landing page of emails, here it is. It's there already. This is the one from Sharon, and the details that were in that particular email here, ready to see within Workbooks. And also now it will show against the contact for Sharon. We can go and actually see if it's got there already, but it does poll it synchronizes every 10 minutes to just search the system to see if the email address is there, and if it is, it will put it against the particular record. So here's Sharon's record, and if I open that up, it's not there yet, but ever so shortly it will also show against Sharon's record. Maybe we go and take a look at that in a minute. It as I say, it's every 10 minutes, so it's within that 10-minute window. We will see it against the record. Instantly it comes into Workbooks, but then checks to see whether it's there. So it's nice and easy to get that information into Workbooks. The other option as well is that if you are sending from your Outlook or your other email account, you can BCC into Workbooks. You can actually do that from here. If I go back to my Alan Whitehead record here, just as an example, you can see here I've probably got an extra option in here now. I've set up my Dropbox. No. So send via your email client. So if I go in here, I can make sure I BCC that Workbooks Dropbox address, and it's then available to be able to send in that way. Okay, so I'm going to just, before I pass back to Tim and check for any questions, I'm just going to go back to my Sharon record here. No, it's not quite there yet, but it will come in because this record has her email address in it. Incidentally, if you don't have a record with that email address, then it won't find the contact because it doesn't have that email address. It doesn't find that email address and link it to that record. However, if for example, you do add the record later, because it's polling every 10 minutes, any subsequent emails you've had from that contact will show against that record in the system, so it appears against that record. Okay, Tim, back to you, I think. Have we had any questions in that?
Yeah, just while we're waiting for questions, here are 7 good reasons to use email templates within your CRM system like Workbooks. So benefit number one, saves you time. So think about common emails that you're sending. Those regular emails, you don't want to repeat things, have them as an email template in your system. It's going to save you time. Second benefit, it ensures you include everything. We can attach files. It may be terms and conditions. So it ensures that everything is included on these common emails you may want to send to your customers. Third benefit, think about corporate branding. All of the emails are going to look identical. You can define the fonts, the layout, the general formatting of your emails to ensure that common messaging, that common enforcing your corporate branding. Fourth benefit, it improves communication by that consistent messaging to your customers. Fifth benefit, it could increase revenue. Think about within the email links to your website. That ain't a bad thing. It's going to push up your SEO. It's going to push more traffic to your website. Also, if you've got any social media platforms, think about that within the email, trying to push more traffic to your social platforms. And sixth benefit, launching from Workbooks means that we are automatically logging it in the email history of that customer. So we've got a great way, as any CRM system should do, a great way of ensuring that all of the interactions, the communications are in one central place. And as you know, with Workbooks, they're all under that email tab there. We can see blow by blow every single thing that's gone on. So a great way of ensuring that in our organization's CRM system, everything is logged. And as Pete showed, automatic personalization of the email, the salutation field. So whether you start with dear or hi or whatever, putting in the salutation of that contact, inserting other fields, as you've seen from Peter's demonstration, a whole plethora of different fields that you can merge into that email well, again, it's saving you time, but it's personalizing that email. So make it more personal to the recipient. So questions then. Let me just take a look here. So Dominic is asking, is it possible to use a template to send a quote from Workbooks?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So it's no different where I selected to generate the template for a people record. You can have these built. So I think just go and see. I'm sure there's some in this demonstration. If I go to customer quotations, let's go and add. Let's go and open one of these. This one, for example. Yes, so I've got a quote here and some line items, and in here you can see there's a quotation template here. So that's been built in the same way as I did with the people record, and you can see in here it's populated, it's got the line items and everything else. Really, really useful because the email body becomes the quote itself, which is a really nice efficient way of sending a quote to somebody. And of course, you haven't got this cluttering their servers up with PDFs and everything else. And then they can click on here and choose to print it and get the quote printable is how they might want to see it. Okay.
Okay, next question from Layla. Can other people link emails with my Dropbox?
Yes. So again, a good example of that actually is that I've seen it where perhaps somebody's working as an agent for you and you haven't given them access to workbooks, but you say, well, okay, if you get any relevant emails, I'd like you to make sure they're in my email account, please. So what you could do is you could pass them the Dropbox email address. So where we went into that preferences, and you could say, well, okay, if you get any emails that are relevant for me in my information that I'd like, then use this Dropbox address. But remember, you do have to add their email address as the authorized sender, because if anybody tries to send to this address, it will just bounce back unless this is accepting those emails coming into the email Dropbox. Okay, good.
All right. Ben is asking, how do I set up my signature file?
Oh, again, yeah, so it's very close to where we added an account. So the idea of the signature, so if I go back in here to Alan Whitehead's record and go to select to send him an email, I'll use the blank one here. So this blank email, you can see, has the signature of this user that I'm logged in as Tony. So you can see here it's readily available at the bottom of the email, and also I ticked that box in the template. To set these up is really straightforward. So you go to Start and Preferences. Been here a bit today. So in here we've got your email accounts, and what you do is you set up an email signature, and if I click, obviously you're going to choose new signature at this point, but if I click the Tony Khan one, here is that text ready to use and send. Okay.
All right. Okay. Couple of questions from Katie. If you send an email via Workbooks, will it show up on the email tab under a person's record?
Yes, it will. Yeah. So the moment you send an email to Alan here, you can see they're in here listed, ready. So all of these actually were sent from Workbooks to Alan Whitehead, because you can see this context here says to. If you've got an email from Alan and you've pushed it in via the Dropbox or any other method, the context would be from. And yeah, so you get all of those show up in the email tab.
Okay, second question from Katie. When sending a quote via Workbooks email, can we customize this email quotation to have company-specific marketing, such as logos?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just as Tim mentioned in his second part there with having branding and that type of thing. So what's quite nice is that maybe as a marketing person, you manage the templates. So when that quote goes out so that was the example you used. So if I use the simple quotation here, whoever's looking after the templates can manage what this looks like by default. Yeah. And of course, if you make these available with the signature at the bottom, maybe as a marketing person, you manage everybody's signatures. So, you know, it's got the latest messages. Come and see us at Expo, will be 2021 now probably, and so on at the bottom, so that you've got those messages going out all of the time, and the salesperson or whoever sends the quote hasn't really got to worry about that. It's already done.
Okay, I think this is the last question. David is asking, where is the Outlook connector? Maybe if I can answer that one, Pete. So the Outlook connector is an add-on option or extension to your Workbook subscription, on the basis that maybe not everyone is using Outlook as their chosen company email system. People may be using Yahoo, Gmail, whatever, but obviously Outlook is pretty much a very popular system. It is an add-on option. It's called the Workbooks Outlook connector there, highlighted. So it's an additional subscription that's added to your account. Now, it doesn't need to be added for all users. Maybe if you're 10 users of Workbooks, for whatever reason, maybe you only need 8 or 9 people using that kind of integration. It does actually give you more than just email integration. It does also allow you to integrate, for example, your calendar between the two applications to make sure that you only type in information once. With that Outlook connector, you can be sending and receiving emails, and you can be you've got a wider choice. You've got more options about what emails land, what emails are copied into your CRM system. So very simple pricing that can be added to your account. Please contact Wizard Systems for details on that. So I don't think there's any more questions. Thanks very much for those questions, please. Thanks, Leslie. So this afternoon session, I mentioned at the beginning, we're doing free training during this period, basic session every Thursday in the morning. And in the afternoon, we're covering for our advanced session, our Tech Express session, creating new databases with Workbooks. By default, you start off with one database, and that might be fine for you. But there are a number of organizations that do need to keep separate silos of information, separate databases for handling maybe different businesses or widely different products or services. So this is a very useful feature of Workbooks to create additional databases. We'll cover that this afternoon. So thanks very much for your time. Look out for the recording. We'll catch up with you next week, 10 o'clock Thursday, for a new Workbooks topic. Watch out for our invitation email. We'll announce it on our Twitter feed as well. But thanks very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.